Should teenagers need their parents' consent for contraception? A study in 2008 shows that 750,000 pregnancies were to women younger than 20. Out of those women, 67.8 per 1,000 women were ages 15 to 19. Some of these girls are not even out of high school yet, and they are about to give birth to a child or have already had a child. Some of these girls will not even be able to go to college. Most of these girls today are thinking about what concert they will go to next or what they're going to buy at the mall. They do not want to think about having to go buy baby diapers, formula, and new baby furniture. They put their whole lives at risk because they could not get contraception without their parents' permission. Some parents are telling their teens that abstinence is the only way. They do not want their teens to have sex, which is understandable. But with the number of pregnancies in 2008, that just shows how many teens do not even listen. Some people would argue that teens are too young to make the decisions themselves. But I think that if they're going to have sex, they should be able to get contraception without parents' permission. Today I'm going to talk about the mental and physical effects teens are having by having a child so young. I'm also going to talk about the effects on the child. Then I'm going to tell you about what we can do to help the children and the teens. When you have a child at such a young age, it's something that affects you both mentally and physically. These teens are having trouble raising their children because of the mental and physical problems they are having. Having a baby, even when you are older, is something that drains you. Being up all night with a baby wears you down, where it is hard to function mentally and physically. Teenagers are physically immature to have babies. Their bodies are not fully developed to give birth, especially the 15 to 17-year-olds, according to the teen pregnancies. The mental health illnesses seem very more serious, though. Teenage mothers are more likely to drink, smoke, or do drugs because of the stress they have. Some teen mothers feel extremely alone, which leads them into depression. Some even commit suicide because of their shame. I think that these teenage parents rebel when they have a child. They are not planned and they are not used to having to care for somebody else, even themselves. They're not ready to take care of themselves. Some of the teen mothers want to go out more, and they still want to live their teenage lives, which is understandable. I do not think these teens should have to worry about someone else so early in their lives. It is hard on them. Some teen mothers also have the issue of finishing high school. Only 40% of teenagers who have children before the age of 18 go on to graduate high school, compared to the 75% from similar social and economic backgrounds who do not give birth to a child until 20 to 21. I cannot believe that almost half of these teenage parents do not even get to finish high school. I cannot imagine what these kids are going to do for work. They cannot do anything because of the qualifications they don't have. And these teens are emotional and physically stressed could be prevented if they could get birth control that they needed. Even though these teens have several issues with having a baby, there are several issues the new baby could have as well. Just like the teens, these babies also have a lot to face in life. These babies are put in the hands of young mothers and fathers and are unable to fend for themselves. Some of the health risks that can be born to young mothers are low birth rate. They can lead to underdeveloped organs, which can lead to complications such as bleeding of the brain, respiratory distress syndrome, and intestinal problems. Teen mothers also have a higher rate of poor eating habits and less likely to take prenatal vitamins and to maintain the right nutrition for their child. Some teens do not have access to the parental care because they simply might not be able to afford it. Not having the prenatal care they need is bad for these babies, and these babies are 4 times more likely to die before they turn 1. Some teens are also more likely to smoke cigarettes, drink alcohol, or take drugs during the pregnancy, which can further lead to health problems for the baby. What I do not understand is why a mother would want to put her baby at risk by smoking and or doing drugs during the pregnancies. Some of these mothers might have already been addicted to drugs when they got pregnant, and even though they have another life to take care of, they cannot quite quit what drug they are on. Prenatal care, however, is something that I can understand. I know these teens are scarce on money and sometimes aren't able to get the care they need to make sure that the baby has proper nutrition. Some do not have the money to buy the foods that they need to stay healthy. Although the premature and low weight babies can be prevented if these teens had access to birth control without their parents' permission. There are several things we can do to help these babies and teens in need. These teens do not know that they really have a whole bunch of options. Teaching more about the different kinds of contraception in a school will lower the teen's chance of having a baby. On a personal note, I once had one of the fake babies overnight and it was terrible. I remember when I was in the shower the next morning, the baby started screaming and we could not figure out how to get it to stop. My sister was actually eating her breakfast and the baby wanted to be rocked. So we had to rock the baby until it fell asleep and would stop crying. I really think that every teen should have to do this project. I think it'll lower their chances of having a child. Also, we need to have an open door to go to, something like a nurse in school, somewhere that the teens can know they have somebody to talk to. I'm not saying we need to hand out birth control like candy, but we need to ensure that the teens know they have somebody that they can go to guide them in the right decision, in the direction that they need to go in. I hope you can take a stand with me in giving these teens options and making them not feel like they cannot talk to anybody about what's going on. We need to help our teens make sure that they do not have the physical and mental problems. We also want to keep an unborn child from having to be born into something so crazy. And I also want to make sure these teens have somewhere they know they can go. And some people, again, would argue that these teens are too young to make decisions for themselves. But if they're thinking about having sexual intercourse, we need to make sure they can get the proper protection without their parents' permission. And we need to lower these teens' possibility of having children at such a young age. It will make everybody's lives so much easier. Thank you and have a good day.